HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents Living at the End of Life, A Hospice Nurse Addresses the Most Common Questions, by Karen Whitley Bell, RN. Read by Nicol Zanzarella. Preface to the second edition. The inspiration to write Living at the End of Life came about in response to the changes I'd witnessed in hospice care. When I began my practice in hospice in 1993, I had time to do what I felt was needed for every patient. Yes, I had to be efficient, I had to prioritize, but I also had time to listen, to gain an understanding of the situation. I had time to help the individual and family understand as well. Over the years, the time nurses were able to spend with those living at the end of life decreased. No one showed us that data on a graph. We knew because each of us was trying to do more with less. We also knew because of the calls we'd get at 2 a.m. from distraught families in crisis, wanting to help their loved one but unprepared and unsure of what to do. Many of these crises were preventable, if only we'd had a little more time during the regular visits with the family, to understand, to plan, to teach, and to reassure. I wrote Living at the End of Life to help families expand their understanding of many common issues, enabling them to focus on more specific needs and questions during the hospice team visits. Now, 7 years after the publication of the first edition, I am once again looking at changes in end-of-life care, seeing gaps and striving to provide information that may be useful. The need for end-of-life care often begins long before the hospice team arrives, sometimes years before. Thankfully, medicine and healthcare continue to improve treatment of life-limiting illnesses, including cancer, as well as many of the diseases common with advancing age. Consequently, as a population, we are living longer, but often with some form of chronic illness or decline. In response to these changes, in this second edition you'll find 2 new appendices. One is dedicated to helping elders and their loved ones ensure quality care and quality of life while coping with physical and/or cognitive decline long before the final months of life. The second new section addresses the unique challenges of living with a treatable but not curable illness, focusing on one central question: how to live fully, perhaps for years, with awareness of one's own inevitable dying, while simultaneously preparing for closure and a good death. In these 7 years, I have experienced my own life changes, developing a more intimate relationship with the issues I wrote about. Within my immediate family, I served as a caregiver for nearly a year, providing round-the-clock, exhausting care, experiencing fear and hope, burdens and joy, while a loved one battled a serious, unexpected, life-threatening illness. I have also moved across the country to live near my aging parents, to help with their care support and to enjoy their company, enriching my life and, hopefully, theirs too. I have also heard from many people who reached out to share their experiences, telling me how the book helped them and their loved ones at a difficult time. In the first edition, I wrote that caregiving is both exhausting and meaningful. I have now lived as a caregiver, and yes, it truly is exhausting and meaningful. You discover strength you never knew you had. You cry, you laugh, and you never look at life the same way again. In the first edition, I wrote that asking for help is difficult, but necessary, and even enriching for the caregiver and those who provide help to the caregiver. I cannot emphasize enough the need to ask for and receive help. Thank you to those who persuaded me to ask for help and were there with help in so many meaningful ways. To those of you who are, or about to become caregivers, ask for help, receive it, and be enriched by it. I have also attained a new relationship with gratitude. Even with years of such an intimate view of end of life while supporting families as a hospice nurse, it was never my family. It was not my loss. It was not my grief. It was theirs. This time it was my family. It was my loss. It was my grief. I, too, walked in that untenable place where the only choice is to walk, to get through, to dig for strength day after day, to find that strength, to struggle again, to move forward. Here is where I found gratitude. Each day, small things, just life, gratitude. Thank you, listener, for trusting me with your time. May you and your loved ones realize meaning, joy, and peace. Karen Whitley Bell, RN. Forward. For most of us, facing incurable, life-threatening illness in ourselves or a loved one is a terrifying experience. Although we may have considered the possibility, it is not something we can actively plan for, and its effects usually take us by surprise. There are a number of how-to books on the market filled with practical hints to guide newcomers encountering life's final chapter. In the category of end-of-life literature are autobiographies of people stricken with illness, philosophical and spiritual musings, and scientific textbooks. As the population ages and chronic illness becomes more commonplace, self-help survival guides are added to the collection. Living at the End of Life is much more than a self-help manual. By inserting real-life dialogue into the extensive list of issues to be faced, Karen Whitley Bell places the listener at bedsides during one of the most intimate of life's dramas. Hearing about what others have experienced and the common questions they have asked gives a first-hand feel to the narrative. People grappling with illness and their caregivers often find themselves overwhelmed with questions about a future they are afraid to contemplate and don't know how or what to ask. This book asks those questions, and the follow-up answers, provided in the context of discussions among givers and receivers of care, offer reassurance, encouragement, and hope. The language people use with each other and with their healthcare professionals about dying often lead to the most intimate and profound of conversations. After nearly 30 years in hospice and palliative care, I continue to be awed by how people facing life-threatening illness describe their plight, as well as both the healing and damaging potential of the language healthcare professionals choose in end-of-life conversations. A key to excellence in palliative care is the recognition that when it comes to the art of dying, they are the teachers and we the students. Palliative specialists provide expertise in comfort and pain and symptom management, and they receive in return remarkable insights into the illness experience, provided by the only ones who really know what it's like. We are all wounded in some way, and in the care of those with incurable terminal illness, the distinction between givers and receivers of care becomes blurred. Ego chill is a phrase used to describe the shock of realization that our non-existence is possible. Accompanying the shock is an almost universal desire to cling to life at any cost and to desperately seek, if not a cure, at least a delay to the end of existence. Curative hope describes this all-consuming urge to fight, to resist, to be rescued from, and not to think about the unthinkable. Although modern medicine is grand, the energy and time invested in curative hope often lead both seekers and providers of healthcare down paths they, in retrospect, wish they had never chosen. Making the transition from curative to palliative hope is one of the hardest challenges of life's final chapter. With palliative hope, the frame of reference shifts from hope for a physical cure to hope for healing, a word that encompasses much more than what happens to the body. In palliative hope, healing, which can take place in the midst of continual physical decline, even unto death, has to do with a restoration of wholeness to mind and spirit, and to relationships, as well as a restoration of coherence to one's life story. Here we were, telling one story with our lives, and along comes this unanticipated and uninvited illness that wrecks the story we were creating for ourselves. Now, in a time frame beyond our control, we have to create a new story with the illness in it and decide, here we still have some control, if we will ultimately be defined by the illness or by some greater meaning of our choosing. Palliative hope is all about that choice. It's about bringing closure, completing tasks, recognizing that our loved ones can make it without us, and celebrating the gifts we have given and the example we have provided that will help them accomplish this. It's all about love, forgiveness, saying goodbye, and making sure that any regrets are dealt with. Unfortunately, time constraints in life's final chapter don't always provide opportunities for both curative and palliative endeavors. We usually have to choose. This book considers what it might be like to choose palliative hope. The stories of the various aspects of this experience found here reveal the different ways people and families face their illness, with examples of how these conversations may go and the remarkable healing impact of words carefully chosen. When agendas differ, conflict is common, but when discussion time is allowed for personal values and goals of care to be clarified, as demonstrated in these narratives, tensions quickly dissolve and everyone finds common ground. People who are dying want, more than anything, to have caregivers who are both loving and competent. Their caregivers want, more than anything, to provide loving, competent care. And their healthcare professionals seek the skills and insights necessary to provide both state-of-the-art pain and symptom management, and to serve as compassionate witnesses to the incredible final chapter they are invited to share. This book has much to offer all three. Dr. Charles G. Sasser, M.D., FAAHPM, FACP. Introduction. What's going to happen? How will we manage? There are things I still want to do. I'm afraid. So begins this journey. It is a time of challenge, of concerns, but also an opportunity to explore and rediscover the fuller, richer meaning of life. This book offers guidance to individuals and their loved ones by sharing the experiences of others who have traveled this extraordinary road. Their stories offer different perspectives, impart knowledge, and reveal possibilities. Their lessons offer the opportunity to discover our own path to cope with decline, realize meaning, attain closure, rediscover hope, and achieve peace. It also includes suggestions, discussion questions, lists, and other resources to help you and your loved ones develop your own solutions to reflect your unique needs and values. What does it mean to undertake this journey? You alone can discover that answer. You alone will choose your path. What this guide offers. Insights into meaning and hope offered by those who have made this journey. An understanding of the opportunities and challenges of this time in life. Practical caregiving instructions. Insights into emotional and spiritual issues. Ideas for creating meaningful conversations. Guidance to address conflict and unresolved issues. An explanation of common physical changes. Suggestions to maximize energy and mobility. Ideas for adapting to a changing appetite, information on common pain medications and guidance for medication management, an explanation of hospice and the services it offers, safety tips, an exploration of care settings outside the home, descriptions of supportive therapies to improve comfort and quality of life, suggestions for managing care if hospice service is not available, lists of resources for additional information or support. How to use this guide. Some chapters address the needs of individuals coping with declining health. Other chapters focus on the challenges faced by loved ones and caregivers. Many chapters offer information that may be helpful to everyone involved in the end-of-life transition. Explanation of terms. For each of us, the word family holds a different meaning. In this guide, family applies to whomever you, the listener, define as your family, and may include close friends, a partner, relatives, pets, or other loved ones. Just as we define our family, we also define our own spirituality. In this guide, spirituality refers to how we view ourselves, our sense of being within a broader context. Regardless of our culture, beliefs, or religious traditions, we ask common questions and encounter common phenomena that may influence our views of our existence. This guide presents an objective account, allowing you to gain insights into these experiences while applying your own beliefs to determine meaning for you. In keeping with hospice practices, this guide does not advocate any specific religious points of view. Consciousness can mean both active consciousness, what we commonly think of as being awake, and awareness, which can occur without our being awake. How this guide is organized. Part 1. What will happen? The spiritual journey. This section offers information that may be helpful to individuals coping with declining health, their loved ones, and caregivers. In this section, you'll learn about the special awareness, communications, and visions some people experience before passing. Information about these occurrences is offered to help you understand what you may experience or what your loved ones might witness during your final days. These occurrences happen frequently and are well documented in professional hospice literature. They are consistent in theme regardless of the cultural, spiritual, or religious practices of those who experience them. They may be the result of the subconscious emerging, they may have a spiritual origin, or they may have other causes. No one knows why they occur or what they mean. Only you can decide what they might mean for you. Part 2. What will happen? The physical journey. This section offers information that may be helpful to individuals coping with declining health. In this section, you'll learn what this journey may be like for you. You'll learn what physical and emotional changes you may experience, and discover tools to cope with these changes. You'll also learn about some of the legal and practical issues you and your loved ones may face, and ways to address them. Most chapters are followed by a list of suggestions, tools, or other resources to help you develop a solution that reflects your unique needs and values. Part 3. Caregiving as a Family. How do we manage? This section offers information that may be helpful for loved ones and caregivers. Individuals coping with declining health may find value in some of this material as well. In this section, you'll learn how to adapt to physical decline. You'll find suggestions to maximize mobility, energy, and safety, advice for adapting to a changing appetite, tips for gathering and organizing help, and information about available resources, including hospice. You'll learn about how to manage communication and minimize conflict within your family. You'll also find guidance for selecting a care facility if caregiving at home is no longer possible. Each chapter is followed by extensive checklists and other tools for quick and easy reference. Part 4. Closure. Will I die a good death? This section offers information that may be of value to individuals seeking meaning as their life nears its end, and to family members supporting a loved one through this process. Not all chapters will be relevant to your situation, so listen to only what you feel applies to you. In this section, you'll explore some of the challenges people may face as they review their life and search for meaning. You'll discover how others have addressed these issues and how they resolved them. You'll find practical tips as well as discussion questions to help you explore your own feelings to achieve resolution, meaning, and peace. Part 5. For loved ones and caregivers. Sharing the final days. This section offers information that may be especially helpful for loved ones and caregivers. To better understand and prepare for the issues presented in this section, consider listening to these chapters before the final days. In this section, you'll learn how to care for someone in the final days. You'll find information about physical changes that may occur and what these changes mean. You'll learn how to keep your loved one comfortable and how to recognize if she's comfortable, even if she can't tell you how she feels. You'll also discover what you can do at the time of passing to honor your loved one and create a special memory if you choose. Part 6. How will I go on? Coping with loss. This section offers information that may be helpful to loved ones beginning their grieving process. This section provides an introduction to the journey of grief, an ever-changing process that each of us experiences in our own way. You'll learn about common physical and emotional changes you may experience, as well as tools and resources to help you understand and cope. Part 7. Living. This section offers information that may be helpful to anyone affected by loss and can be listened to at any time during this journey. This section relates some of the remarkable lessons I've been offered about life and living from individuals and families who have shared their journey with me. I share their courage, grace, and wisdom with you in hopes that you, too, will discover your own path to meaning, hope, and peace. I am grateful to the many families I have been privileged to serve and learn from in my 15 years as a hospice nurse, providing care and support in homes, hospice residences, and hospitals. The events shared in this guide are actual experiences. One chapter, What If We Don't Have Hospice Care, is a composite of two families' similar experiences. To respect their privacy, names and other identifying details have been changed. Nothing worth doing is complete in our lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we are saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be achieved alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. No virtuous act is ever as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as from our own. Therefore, we are saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness. Reinhold Niebuhr. Part 1. What Will Happen? The Spiritual Journey. This section offers information that may be helpful to individuals coping with declining health, their loved ones, and caregivers. In this section, you'll learn about the special awareness, communications, and visions some people experience before passing. Information about these occurrences is offered to help you understand what you may experience, or what your loved ones might witness during your final days. These occurrences happen frequently and are well documented in professional hospice literature. They are consistent in theme regardless of the cultural, spiritual, or religious practices of those who experience them. They may be a result of the subconscious emerging, they may have a spiritual origin, or they may have other causes. No one knows why they occur or what they mean. Only you can decide what they might mean for you. What will it be like? An overview of the end-of-life journey. Will I be alone? Will others be with you in your final days or hours? Will I choose my time? Does the mind or spirit influence when we pass? Will I be aware? The possibility of consciousness even if we're not awake or responsive. I had this dream, a description of common dream themes. What will it be like? An overview of the end-of-life journey. Eddie. What will it be like? Eddie asks, holding my hand. I gaze at him, looking for signs of fear, but see none. Instead, I see a quiet acceptance, wisdom, and a grace rarely found in this time and culture in which we live. Most of us live our lives in haste, in pursuit of goals, in denial. I must hurry. I must have more. It will not happen to me. And yet it does happen, to all of us. In that realization, there are both questions and choices. In the months, weeks, days, hours, and moments that remain, what will this journey be like? What will I say to those I love? How will they remember me? Will I suffer? Will I find closure? Will I be at peace? Eddie looks at me, his hand holding mine, waiting, asking, what will it be like? I think about the young man I've only just met. Labeled as developmentally delayed at an early age, his mother abandoned him and he became a ward of the state, growing up in group homes, making his own family, forming deep friendships bonded by his disarming smile, infectious laugh, and generous spirit. He ambled through life at his own pace, taking time to discover what most would overlook. He found joy in giving, happiness in making others smile. Over the years, I've come to realize that we die in much the same way as we live. If we have been open, generous, and kind in our living, we will make this final passage with that same sense of peacefulness. If we've spent our lives struggling for control, always fearful, always holding tight to what we have, then in death we will also struggle, against the loss of control, against the unknown, against letting go. But even then, in our final months, weeks, and days, we have a choice. I believe you will be peaceful, I say. The people here at the foster home will take good care of you, and nurses like me will come see you to ask how you're feeling. We'll all work together to make sure you stay comfortable. Eddie blinks but makes no other response, and I continue. You'll begin to sleep more. You won't have all the energy you used to have. At some point, you may want to just stay in bed, and that's okay. They'll help you. They'll bring things to you. I watch his face, looking for change, for fear, but see none. You won't feel like eating as much as you used to. That's your body telling you it hasn't got the energy to digest it. At some point, you'll probably want to eat just a little bit at a time. And when you do feel like eating, it will probably be things like pudding or custards or ice cream. That's okay. The people here will understand why you don't feel like eating. They'll know that it's not because you don't like the food or don't appreciate that they brought it. They'll know you're not eating much because your body just isn't up to it anymore. You'll probably want to spend more time alone, just being quiet, not watching television or reading or being with visitors. You may just want to lie in bed or recline in a chair, resting with your eyes closed. In those quiet times, you may think about all the people you care about, all the good memories you share with them, how they make you happy, and how good you feel that they're a part of your life. And when you think about them, know that you've made them happy too. A tear escapes from the corner of his eye. He does not wipe it away. You might also think about sad things, like how much you'll miss your friends, and about all the things you've dreamed of doing, but now won't be able to. It's okay to be sad. I squeeze his hand. It's okay to cry. Sometimes just letting all that emotion out, just letting go instead of trying to hold it all in, can make you feel a lot better. I wait, wondering, is this enough, or does he want to know more? I feel a slight squeezing of his hand around mine. I nod and continue. As time goes by, you'll sleep most of the time. Sometimes you might dream about your old friends, people you haven't seen in a long time. Then you might begin to dream about going on a trip. And finally, you may dream about the people you love who have already passed away. They'll be good dreams. You won't be afraid. When the time is very close, you might feel a surge of energy. Some people do. More likely you'll be deeply asleep, but I think you'll be aware of what's happening around you, even if you can't respond. And I think, Eddie, when you're ready, you'll peacefully let go and make your journey to whatever is next. Another tear spills from the corner of his eye. What is next? He asks. What do you think is next? He shrugs. I don't know. I smile. I don't either. But I think whatever is waiting for you, Eddie, whatever is next, I think it will be wonderful. I think it will be beautiful. I think it will be peaceful. He closes his eyes. For a long time we sit quietly together, his hand holding mine. Then he opens his eyes. His gaze travels to some distant place far beyond me. Will I get to say goodbye to everybody? Yes, when you're ready. Slowly he nods. His gaze returns to that distant place. His mouth forms a small smile. What is important is not what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens to us. Jean-Paul Sartre. The journey. For each person, this journey is unique. You may experience some or all of these changes. Additional information can be found throughout this guide. Months before passing. Withdrawal and reflection. Decreased appetite. Changes in food preferences. Decreased energy. Increased need for sleep. Vivid dreams. Need for some assistance with personal care. Weeks before passing. Minimal appetite. Prefer easily digested foods. Further increase in the need for sleep. Increased weakness. Increased need for assistance with care. Days before passing. Decreased level of consciousness. Pauses in breathing. Decreased urine volume. Murmuring to people others cannot see. Reaching in air or picking at covers. Need for assistance with all care. Days to hours before passing. Decreased level of consciousness or comatose-like state. Inability to swallow. Pauses in breathing become longer. Shallow breaths. Knees, feet, and/or hands becoming cool or cold. Knees, feet, and/or hands discoloring to purplish hue. Skin coloring becoming pale, waxen. Will I be alone? Will others be with you in your final days or hours? Thomas and Luann. I just don't know what to do. Luann says, wrapping her knobby, arthritic fingers around her coffee mug as we sit together at her kitchen table. He won't...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?